Hey, wait a minute. Do you know what I'm about to show you may probably sound or look like a voodoo? Or maybe AI. But let's find out in this video. You are welcome back. My name is Ezekiel. Hope you are doing very well today. In this video, I'm going to be walking you through Waves Intrigger. When I put it into a test, it's like a wow. It's like a magic to me. It's like AI is working or some kind of I don't know. So I'm going to be walking you through that. I have this mod track that I'm about to mix or almost done. So I only have a guitar to put into it, which I'm going to be using. And I'm so excited to have Waves Intrigger to mix these drums. So let's see what's in Intrigger. Listen to my drums, the way it sounds like. Then I'm going to turn off everything before I walk you through everything. Okay, so that's the drums that you've just listened to. Now let me bypass Intrigger on all of my drum kits so you can listen to how it sounds like. Then I will open each drum kit for you to listen to what the Intrigger is doing in my drums. You could hear a subtle difference between when I turn it off and when I turn it on. You could hear on the snare drum the way it sounds a bit robust and texture in the signal. Alright, before we move on, before I walk you through this one, if you are watching me for the first time, please subscribe and click on all notification buttons so you'll be aware whenever I upload new videos. And if you like what you've watched, please, I need your thumb up for me for YouTube algorithm so that YouTube will know that this video is interesting to people and can be shared for more people to learn from. Now, let's go into that. And the first thing I'm going to be showing you is look at the cake. And what we have here, look at where the blue colors on this on detection on the left side here. And look at all the pink color here and look at the blue color. So the blue color shows the main signal. So the rest of the pink colors that are scattered are the bleeding. Look at the target here. I can do like this. So and I can bring it up. So what that is doing to roster, when you click on the main signal, you're going to adjust the level of which is going to concentrate on the main signal while it's isolated the rest of the signal. All right, so before I walk you through this one, I'm going to be showing you the few features in Intrigger. Then along the line, I will introduce the rest of the features to you as we are going through that. But one thing I'll need to introduce to you, look at the right side corner on the upper side. Then look at where onset gate is. This is where we have onset gate, and if you want to adjust that manually, so you can adjust, but the default setting is already working well, so you don't need to do much. But if you have very aggressive or more dirty drum signal, so you can do your manual setting to suit yourself. That's number one. And number two, now let me do it manually, and then we're going to see how it works. Now what I'm going to do, the big dot shows the roll signal, the right signal, the main kick for us. So what I'm going to do by clicking on it, then when you click on that the right signal, you click on the target. So when you click on the target, automatically it's going to fix that one. So just look at it now. That small dot is the bleeding in the kick. That's the snare that you heard when the kick sound in the first place, the sound along with it. So that's the snare. So let's listen to this one, how it sound like. Okay, so one more thing that I needed to show you here on the trigger section, on top of detection, we have triggers, we have retrigger here, and the retrigger shows how many milliseconds that it takes for the trigger to take effect on the signal. All right, so we have sensitivity and we have trigger shift. So basically what the sensitivity is doing in it, showing the amount, just like a compressor, the amount of compression on the signal. So the amount of the whole triggered is taking effect on that signal. So that would depend on how more sensitive it's going to take the whole control of your signal, and it's not going to allow some dynamics in your signal. It's going to be sounding robotic. All right. So then Wave's already given us a default setting, which is 5%, and the trigger shift minus 5.1. You can see that one clearly. What trigger shift is doing is it's going to allow trigger to make some clips in your signal, like when you have your kick sound, toot, 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 toot. So the trigger shift will allow trigger to miss some of the clips, so it's not going to be working on all the signal that it comes. So it may attack the first kick and miss the second one and miss the third one, or allow it to hit the third one. So that's how trigger works. Then on detection, on the focus, we have range and separation standard, also like that. High, we have extreme, we have low, we have standard, and the full range, mid range, high range. So it is in full range. So depend on what you want to do on your signal source and what you are focusing on. Sometimes if you are dealing with some difficult signals like drum recorded live with too much bleeding in the background, you can use the frequency just like a key source in gate or the compressor, so which is going to allow you to focus on a particular frequency, for the kick, and within around 80 up to 8K, so which is a good point, which is a good frequency bandwidth to focus on to get your drum to be triggered with Intrigger. So you can as well change the frequency so that it can easily trigger that frequency if you're having problem in dealing with the right source inside your drum kit. So that's all about this one. So let's move on to the next one. So now the next thing that I'm going to be doing is I want to load in my own samples. So there are ways you can drop in your samples, and you can also drop your samples by Cosmos, which Waves already created the drums library for the Intrigger. When we click on this one, it's going to bring out the Cosmos. Now we have different samples that comes from Intrigger. Look at the screen. Those that are Intrigger libraries, you have seen INT on that. So take a look at the left side. I have Sweetwater Studio drum samples and the Big Fish audio samples also, so which I uploaded. If you want to upload that, you click on the cross icon then, so it's gonna take you to your libraries. So that's how you're gonna walk through that. Now, so let me show you something here. We have kick, snare, rim, tom, hi-hat, cymbals, percussion, and so on. So we have drums, depending on what you want to do. So if you want to drop in your kicks, just click on the kick. So when you click on the kick, you still have subgroup like that, whereby you can, under the kick, the type of the kick that you want to load in. So we have clean, we have bright, tape, punch, dark. So depending on the kick that you want. So let's say I'm going to go for the kick. I'm going to listen to the samples. Because I don't want to waste much of our time, so I'm just going to go with this one. It still sound close to what I want to hear, and that by doing that, so if I click on the kick and I select the clean one, so because I want a clean kick, then one thing I need to tell you about is before you could be able to use Cosmos, you need to log into the website. So when you log into Whip's website, if you have not registered before, so you need to register. Then when you register, you need to be online. So for you to be able to log in into Cosmos, then you get access to all the libraries. So one more thing that I'm going to be showing you here, now I need to explain to you. Look at this section. We have random, follower, and the humanize. So what those ones are doing, it is that random is going to allow Intrigger to follow your drum signal depending on the dynamic that is in your signal. So random is going to follow that when you have some roll. So I'm going to demonstrate that. And if you wanted to follow that so that it will not sound like drum machine, or you understand that, so you'll be able to adjust more of the random. And if you want it to sound more human, increase it a bit. And if you want to tone the kick, maybe you want it to sound a bit more lower. So let's listen to all those ones, then delay. All right, that's about that. So one thing that I'm going to be showing you now, which is more interesting on this side. Okay, firstly, you can trim your signal. Probably you create your own signal and you have excess silence from the start on or the end of the clip. So you can adjust that. By doing that, look at the blue color here. So you can trim it to whatever you want, and the end of it, you can also trim that. And if you want, you can fade in and you can also fade out, but the clip is already fine. So let me show you something here. Look at the dialog box on the right side close to the center. On the filter, I'm turning on the filter, then click on the arrow. Look at the envelope dialog box that is given to me. So you can do the release, the sustain. You listen to how it is, and then you can adjust your attack, depends on how you want. So let's listen to how that sound, and then I'll adjust all the parameter settings, including the low pass filter and the high pass filter. Let's listen to how everything sound like. Now let's listen to this one together with the main clip. You could just listen to the subtle effect of the drive. So because I'm dealing with the clean signal, so I don't want a kind of distortion, not hip hop. So I need a clean signal. But listen to how the drive sounds like that. So we have a lot of ways to manipulate signal by using all of these features. All right, so the next one that I'm going to be showing you now, so let's go on to the snare drum. So let's listen to how it sounds like, then I'll show you some interesting things on that. Now let's bypass the Intrigger on the snare drum. Okay, so you just listen to the difference when I deactivate the Intrigger and when I activate it back. So now let me show you. Yeah, this is where this one can be more explored. All right, like I explained earlier on. So what I did here is, so I need just a little blend of the samples with the source clip. That's how it sounds like. Let's listen to it now. That's a sample on the trigger without the source. The only thing that I did on this one, I'm not dealing with the envelope, right? So I work on the modulator. So the warp and the smooth, so you can adjust, and the phase you can the way you really want. So what I did most is on the low pass filter up to 2000. So that's the default setting, and I'll only add a little bit of the drive. So let's listen to it with and without. You can hear the drive in the snare. It's not that obvious, but it adds fatness and a little bit of distortion. It shoots out the role that the drummer is playing there. You can hear the difference when I turn it off. So that's one of the benefits of the Intrigger. Another thing which I would show you under the detection, you can also send this into your MIDI. I have not tested this one yet. I have not used this one to see how it works. So I put the random up to 100. Then the follower, I brought it down about almost 6% so that the dynamic in the drum playing can show out, so it can sound more like a human playing, not like a machine. Now let me show you. I did the same thing on the snare bottom. So take a look at this one on the snare bottom and let's listen to how it sounds like on the snare bottom. I'm gonna bypass it and I'm gonna open it again. I'm not doing much on this one, so that's how. Let's listen to both of them together. That's about that. Now let me show you something on the toms. The toms, I already cleaned up the toms, and what I just did it, I used int Intrigger sample toms. I'll just look at it here. So I took my time to select the toms that sound related to my toms here. That's what I did on the 3 toms. And look at the floor tom. So this is where I did a little bit of tweaking and the adjustment on the envelope and on the drive. So let's listen to the floor tom, how it sounds like. Now you just listen to the difference when I bypassed it and when I turn it on back. So what I did basically, so I've explained everything along the line. So I used a band pass, so and the resolution, I increased the drive all the way up and I adjusted the envelope a bit to suit my taste, the way I want the floor tom to sound like. So it won't just sound doom, doom, just sound doom. Doom. So that's the little adjustment I did on the decay, on the sustain, and the release time. So that's what you are listening to. So let's listen to everything together. Then the source, I about 33% so that I just have the blend of the sample on the trigger. So that's how it sound like. Now I'm gonna go to another part of. Let's first listen to from this section. Okay. Alright, that's all about Waves Intrigger. So this sounds like a voodoo, like AI. Probably, how does it sound like? Please, I wanted to drop in a comment below. So what do you think about this in comparison with other drum triggers? that you may have known. So drop it down in the comment below. So please, if you're new to this channel, and please, I want you to smash subscription button and click on all notification button so you will know when I upload the new videos. And if you like what I've just watched, please, for YouTube algorithm, I want you to thumb up for me so that the video can also be shared with people. Now this is where I'm gonna be stopping for now. So hope you enjoyed this video. We're gonna see you next time. Bye.